This entrance gate is gonna get a mural. Let's get into it. Step 1 is cleaning it up.
Right away, I noticed some major problems. Not only was this gate violently dusty, but it seemed to be falling apart. This thing genuinely looks like it might collapse at any point. Not just broken bricks, but snapped support beams. Power through. I'm just gonna go ahead and paint this mural anyway. But let's hurry it up because it could collapse at any given point. Removing the infected and invasive plants was a step in the right direction. At this point, you might be wondering, what are you going to paint for the mural?
Look at this, we got one dog here, another dog there. Of course they're going on this mural.
They will be immortalized.
The plants out, maybe a little bit of root still in there, but we got the plants out and the wall is prepped. Next up, we're priming.
And who you just saw was the owner of the property. I'm stoked to be painting a mural for them. While priming, I realized another big problem with this mural. It's on a curved wall, which means it's really tough to actually get the ink into the right places. These paint rollers were not designed for a curved wall. It's making it way harder, and I'll have to change my entire process for this mural. Typically, I use a projector, but this one will have to be completely hand-drawn. 2 9-foot-tall dogs. Oh man, this is going to be quite the challenge. While I was priming, I was prepping a plan on how to make it happen. I'm going to use a dual primer method. Let me show you how it's done.
It's the next day. I'm not sure if you can hear the endless car horn in the background, but these are painted after last night. We're gonna actually illustrate now.
With it being a gate, it needed to be symmetrical. But I also wanted to represent the 2 different dogs. This sweet dog is named Panini. She hung out with me the whole time I was painting. Now back to the dual primer method. Since I don't have a projector, I am going to have to hand draw this. Step 1 is using a colored pencil and searching lines to lay out the rough sketch or layout of your painting. This light colored pencil will be covered by a second layer of primer that will lay over this white. So this is an opportunity to be expressive before we swap out this pencil for your final line work. While this line art won't show in the final painting, these lines will be essential guides for where I lay in the color. Sharpen that pencil so you can absolutely lock in for this longest, straightest line of my whole freaking life. Here we go. I think this is a good example of how you can use the searching lines to then guide your final line. For me, drawing and sketching is usually the most fun part of any project. But this fun must end because now it's time for another layer of primer. This time, the primer will be beige. This will cover up those rough illustrations that we started with and leave behind just the clean line work. Now the illustration stage might be done and the priming stage has just begun. Oops, I didn't mean to go all Dr. Seuss on you, but we do have to finish this up right quick because I want to show you that from afar you can't even see the line art, but it's really nice because when you move it up close you can actually see it as a perfect guideline for where you're going to paint. Wow, I am hype. Concept, illustration, 2 layers of primer done, and it's the end of day 2. See you tomorrow for
day 3 painting, and it's a bit overcast today, which is going to be perfect for laying in the colors. Let's get into it.
The sheer amount of times I had to rearrange the scaffolding to reach the top parts and then move it back to the other one to reach that top part was comical. But here we go. We're painting in yellow, which is going to be the halo of these dogs. For me, the edges are the most important part. Getting crispy, clean edges helps your painting just pop. Oh look, we're already on to the next color. Oh no, I realized I haven't introduced you to the other dog, Huckleberry. I always start with the edges, making them nice and crispy before I infill with the paint roller.
Just beware.
Painting always takes a long time and longer than I usually expect. The daylight was already fading to golden hour and I had barely finished the first dog. I had to start drawing the face ASAP. I was absolutely sprinting through my line work. This is the part where you really have to trust the process. You have the layout and the line work for where to place your painting. So for me, it was about absolutely locking in. Since it was slipping towards sunset, I knew I had to hustle. That meant no jumping on and off of the scaffolding, just absolutely painting and finally finishing up with a roller. It was just in time because
oh, it's beautiful. The color turned out nice.
The colors are perfect.
I like the mouth. It's not too cartoony. It's more serious, which I think is good.
Yes, you didn't want them like smiling
I don't like,
dopily.
yeah, smiling was a little too cartoony.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it.
really starting to see the space transform. Creating a flat line on that curved surface was a fun challenge. This dog doesn't even have eyes yet. Anyway, you know what time it is. Move the scaffolding and dive into painting the next dog.
Day 4, sunny bright, looking nice. We got this one finished up, or base coat finished up. Next up, color blocking on this big dog. They'll both be facing in towards the center, which is pretty exciting.
And to keep it unexpected, look, it's already done, no painting montage. But I gotta say, there was something about these eyes. Stylistically, I put them both on one side to make the dog look more friendly. Was it giving Picasso too much? I had also chosen to make these eyes vertical and the other dog's eyes horizontal. This was to help add variation to the symmetry. The dogs were looking pretty cute, but this mural wouldn't be complete without, drumroll please, Yes, a date to the nursery. One of my favorite places to hang out. A hilarious frog pot? Maybe not for this project. How about some snapdragons? Things were going good, but I had this sinking feeling.
So I thought these things were done, but I realized that the face isn't looking how I wanted it to look. They're just a little bit too Picasso-y. And so even though we've got the planters ready and it's our last day here, I'm gonna try and change.
Let's just get to it already. This was likely the most nerve-wracking part of this entire mural process. I was completely changing how the faces looked in the last second, and painting light over dark at the same time. While on a time constraint, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish up the second layer of the eye. If I left it as is, it would end up having a strange double effect. Luckily, the weather was perfect, this beige dried really quickly, and I was able to add a second layer with no problem. Here is the final reveal, with the dogs posing in front to boot. I'd love to paint more murals. If you have a place for a mural, please contact me. While I don't have a ton of final shots, I do have this fun one from when they both had 2 eyes, and also this small clip of when I signed it. Consider watching another one of my art videos to support me. Thanks.